What if I told you the United States military once plotted to murder innocent Americans on purpose, hijack planes, bomb cities, and stage deadly attacks, all to trick the public into supporting a war? This isn't some wild internet conspiracy. This is Operation Northwoods, a real, declassified plan signed and approved by the top military brass of the Pentagon in 1962. Let's be absolutely clear. This wasn't about protecting America. This was about manipulating America through fear, death, and deception. Let me take you back to 1962. The air was thick with nuclear tension. The Cold War wasn't just cold, it was bone-chilling. America and the Soviet Union were two giants locked in a silent, staring contest, both with fingers twitching over the red button. But somewhere deep inside the Pentagon, a plan was being written. Not a plan to stop the Soviets. Not a plan to protect the homeland. It was a plan to terrorize the American people and blame it all on Cuba. This wasn't fiction. It wasn't a spy novel. It was Operation Northwoods. And it almost happened. It started with fear, the kind that seeps into boardrooms, into bunkers, into the highest offices of power. Fidel Castro had taken Cuba, and just 90 miles from Florida, a bearded revolutionary had thrown out American influence and welcomed in the Soviets. To some, it was a mosquito bite, but to others, it was cancer. After the Bay of Pigs failed spectacularly, the CIA and the military looked foolish. In Washington, it was desperate. Desperate men write dangerous memos. In a closed-door meeting behind polished wood and beneath fluorescent lights, the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the most powerful military men in the country, signed off on a plan. They called it Operation Northwoods. But they might as well have called it Operation Nightmare. Here's how the story was supposed to unfold. A commercial airliner, filled with college students on spring break, suddenly vanishes from the sky. The cause? Cuban operatives. That's what the headlines would scream. In another city, maybe Miami, maybe Washington, a bomb goes off in a crowd. Civilians lie bloodied in the streets. Mothers scream. Sirens wail. And in the middle of the chaos, evidence is conveniently found linking it all back to Havana. That was just the start. The Northwoods document proposed staging shootings, sinking refugee boats, faking funerals, and even launching rockets at military bases, all staged to get the American people to demand war. They weren't going to convince Americans to support an invasion of Cuba, so they decided to trick them by killing their own. But here's where the story takes a twist. The plan, all 13 pages of it, landed on the desk of one man, President John F. Kennedy. And JFK took one look at Operation Northwoods and shut it down. He didn't just reject it. He was horrified. Within months, he removed the man who signed it, General Lyman Lemnitzer, from his post. He began to distrust the CIA even more than he already did. Whispers began to circulate in Washington. Kennedy was thinking about breaking up the CIA altogether. He knew the machine had gone rogue. He saw what unchecked fear, unchecked power, and unchecked secrecy could produce. But then, a year later, Dallas. No one ever went to prison for Operation Northwoods. No one was even reprimanded. The plan was buried. For over 35 years, it was locked away, sealed in the National Archives, filed under the cold label of top secret. Until 1997, when it was quietly declassified. Even then, few noticed. And yet, it remains one of the most disturbing government documents ever created. Not because it was carried out, but because it came so close. This wasn't a fever dream of a rogue agent. It was signed by the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the highest-ranking military leaders in the United States, willing to kill their own to start a war. They say history repeats itself. But if you don't even know what happened the first time, how will you see it coming the second? Operation Northwoods didn't just reveal a moment of madness. It exposed a systemic willingness to lie, to kill, and to sacrifice the people it claimed to protect. That's not ancient history. That's a warning.